16th. We're here located at 114 West Buffington Avenue, Anderson, Texas. At this time, I am calling the meeting to order. And although this is a special agenda, we will ask Pastor Tompkins to come forward and give us a prayer.
Let us pray. Father God, we come petitioning the highest court, which is your court. You are the judge, and Father, we lift this court to you, Father, that your wisdom would overflow in this court. We ask your blessings upon each one, each commissioner, judge in his absence, everyone that is behind the scene, Father, that's your blessing. And Father, we thank you for your protection, because Father, in other places, in other cities, there are chaos in different courts. But we thank you for the peace that you have given this court. And we ask your blessings this day, and everything will be resolved in your name. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Giving honor to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Pastor. At this time, we'll move on to consent agenda items. Item number 2, consider and take action to approve the treasurer's list of claims and bills. Number 3, to approve payroll. Consider and take action to approve payroll. Number 4, approve monthly report submitted by the county treasurer for the September 2019 and authorized advertisement of affidavit of same in accordance with local government code 140.026. Number 5, consider and take action to approve budget amendments and line items. And that is your consent agenda items. Or is there any discussion over any of the consent agenda items?
Yes, I've got a couple. Okay. On the first one, budget amendment number 1, it lists funds to be increased to county courthouse and commissioners precincts 3 and 4. I believe that should just say commissioner precinct 3 because I think this is for repairs out to the building.
It is.
So if we could just make that note that it's not going in my budget.
Okay.
And then on...
Could I back up to that item? It actually is moving into Fund 410, line item 410. Is that correct, Ms. Mary? Could you add some clarity to that?
That is the money that we received from Harvey, and so that is in a grant fund.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in Fund 47, Department 410, line item 403.
Okay. All right. Which is neither mine or yours, so,
Okay.
but it is for Commissioner, that precinct.
Yes.
Okay, building. All right.
And then on the second page, line item transfer number 3, the salary for the district attorney, $6,800, that's going to be proposed to go into these other funds. When we developed the budget, we set a salary for the assistant district attorneys based on the request. And I think we should not change those salaries. Those salaries were put in place to prosecute cases in Grimes County. We need to figure out another way to come up with these other expenses.
Now, can you shed light on that? Is that how we have?
So, the situation with this.
Could you identify yourself?
Oh, I'm sorry. Good morning. I'm Investigator Wren with the Grimes County District Attorney's Office. When our office came and asked for the position, we asked for the salary to be at $90,000. And our office had set aside, after learning that we would theoretically get the position, our office had set aside the money to cover cutting an office in half, buying a laptop, and a desk and a chair and the necessary stuff for the position. However, because of the way the budget process went, our office did not actually get approved for the position technically until 4 or 5 days before the end of the fiscal year. So I went and spoke to Judge Falf and to the auditor's office in advance and said, these are our options. Tell me how you'd like us to proceed. I didn't feel like it was physically responsible to purchase all of these items for the position before it was officially approved in the budget process, because you're buying something that you don't, for a position you don't technically have, and with the way the process was going, it was always a possibility it could come out. So that then left 4 days, basically, for us to try to buy all this stuff and do all this stuff. So the position I had, or the question I had for the auditor and for the judges, do you want us to try to jump through hoops and buy all this stuff in 4 or 5 days, or would y'all like us to do this? We knew that because of the position not being proposed or approved until 4 or 5 days before the budget was actually the end of the fiscal year, we also did not start advertising for the position. So we knew that we would not have anybody in place for this month. So the suggestion that I offered to Judge Falf and to the auditor's office was, we know that that salary money for that first month is not going to be used, which is roughly $73 or $400. We could, rather than trying to jump through hoops and buy all this stuff in 4 days with the money that we had saved to do that, and rather than having to come and ask for additional funds from the county, we could just take what was proposed for the salary for the first month, transfer that around and buy it there, because the money's not going to be used anyway. We don't have anybody in place, and there's no likelihood of us actually getting somebody in place in that first couple of weeks when we can just start advertising basically now. Our office, as of yesterday, has interviewed 3 people. We have not hired anybody and are not going to have anybody hired before the end of this month. So that money's just going to sit there. So that's how we ended up. And that, to finish what I was saying, the auditor's office and the judge thought that this was a better way to proceed, because the money from last budget will just roll into the building or whatever y'all are going to do with it. And the money that was allotted for this salary for this 1 month was just going to sit there anyway. So that's how we ended up here today.
All right. Ms. Mary, do you have any light you would like to shed on that?
Well, I can certainly understand, the reasoning of wanting to do it this way. I do believe, though, Ms. Wren, that did say that it is not common practice for us to move from salary into the other line items. And, that was the concern, the only concern I had, is that, we've made it a practice not to move money from salary into the other line items. And so this would be an exception to the rule if y'all decided to do that.
Is it one that you approve of from your position as the auditor?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. I'd like to note the following items. Line item transfer number 2, to purchase 4 drawer lockable filing cabinets. That amount that is to be decreased should be $227.99, not the $224.99. As you'll see, it's increased by the $227.99. So we need to make the correction there of the $227.99. Is there any more discussion on the consent agenda items?
I just have some concerns about moving the salary money. I mean, we funded what was requested, and we did so to fund a position that we were advised couldn't be hired for less. and it's vital to the importance of Grimes County. I get that. I would prefer keeping the salary of the assistant district attorneys where they're currently budgeted and finding this money somewhere else. It's out of the ordinary, but the auditor says she doesn't have a problem with it, so I don't know, you know.
Do you have anywhere else that you think that money could be moved in that salary? I mean, in that budget?
I have not searched for any other place. It would probably have to come from fund balance.
And to be clear, Commissioner, the salary will be set exactly as it was. Their monthly rate will not change. The money that is going to pay for this is this salary for this month that was just going to sit there because there's no one in place. Their salary's not going to change.
That line item would not decrease. It's just a matter of a budget amendment, moving it from a salary line, which is a line we don't typically move from, down into a line. Is this machinery and equipment? Is it all machinery? No.
It was divided out. The money for the laptop and the computer stuff is going to go to Greg's budget because that's where that stuff is supposed to be bought from. The money to cut the office in half and have a door is going to Al's budget because he controls that. And then the money that's coming to our budgets for the desk, the chair, the furniture stuff.
Okay, I see the differences. Do you propose a solution, Commissioner?
I would prefer to take it out of fund balance than adjust the salary, because I believe what they told me was that we would have difficulty hiring somebody for a lesser amount, and I believe that. And I don't think we need to adjust that. And we don't allow anybody else to do that, to my knowledge.
So when you hire in and you're going to hire, you're still looking for somebody to fill the position,
Yes.
possibly for $90,000. Is that still a negotiable amount?
No,
Or is that the set amount you're gonna offer?
That's what we're going to offer, and the position will still be a $90,000 a year job. This is a one-time situation where we're using the salary that's not going to anyone because we don't have anybody in place. But their monthly rate and their yearly rate will not change going forward. They will still make the $7,500 or whatever it is a month. And in the future years, it will be $90,000. We're just wanting to use money that's not going to be spent because of nobody being in place.
I understand.
And again, I went to the judge and asked for specifically about doing this, and this was his suggestion to us. Had we been told otherwise, we would not be standing here, and we would have tried to jump through hoops and buy all this stuff in 4 days, because we had the money in our budget last year to do that. So we took the advice of the judge in proceeding to do this.
Any thoughts?
I don't see any problem with moving the money because it's not gonna be used in the salary this year, obviously, and you've got this month. You're probably not gonna have somebody in place for the next month, for the whole month anyway.
We're hoping maybe to get somebody in place in early November, but all of October's washed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a problem with moving this to keep the budget. The budget's going to stay the same. The salary will be the same as the original.
All right. Is there a motion for the consent agenda items?
I move to approve the consent agenda items 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the note of changing to $227.99 and line item transfer number 1.
And also the strikeout in the first line item, budget amendment number 1, line, from Commissioner.
Oh, yes, and strike out precincts 3 and 4.
I second the motion.
All right, it has been moved and seconded. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. We'll move on to item number 6. Consider and take action to approve the proclamation designating the month of October 2019 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And I think that we have the Focusing Family Group here this morning. Welcome to Grimes County.
Thank you.
With Ms. Lupe.
Yes.
Would you like to come up and read the proclamation for us?
Yes, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. Working with Focusing Families in Hempstead, I'm going to give you a little bit about what we do, and then
Yes, ma'am.
we service several counties, Grimes County being one of them, Waller County, Washington County, and Austin County, and also part of Northwest Harris County. Our crisis center is in Hempstead, and we have between case managers helping the clients to, we have our LPC, a therapist, and I do a lot of the peer counseling. We also have a shelter which services any of them, any of the counties. And we also do a lot of, we will be getting a attorney and a paralegal that will help our clients, whether it's a divorce, custody issue, or protective orders that they're needing. So those are some of the things that we help the clients with. And we also help, we never want a client to say, I can't make it to the appointment because I don't have any gas money. As long as we've got the gas cards, we can give it to them, but we also go to the different locations. Here in Navasota, in Navasota, we go to the resource center. We can meet the clients at different areas, so they don't have to make the trip, because we want them to get the help.
Now, Ms. Lupe, I introduced you as Ms. Lupe because I didn't have a last name.
Yeah,
Could you please
Garcia.
give us? Ms.
Lupe Garcia.
Okay, Ms. Garcia. Is this a new organization or?
No, it'll be 20 years for us.
Oh, awesome.
20 years, yes.
All right, thank you
You're
for that
welcome.
introduction.
Thank you. And I've got some of the ladies with me. Tiffany she does a lot of the presentations, trainings, things like that. And then we've got the caseworkers, which is Maria and Veronica Zavala.
Thank you.
They work directly with the clients themselves, depending on what they need.
Okay.
Okay. Our efforts to help victims of domestic violence will always be one of the most important tasks. Through teamwork and cooperation, we will continue to provide needed services to our victims and survivors of domestic violence. Domestic violence is a crime that affects all aspects of a community with far-reaching consequences for the primary victims. Women and children, and domestic violence is particularly devastating because it so often occurs in the privacy of the home, which is meant to be a place of shelter and security. Thousands of women and children in Texas are victims of domestic violence offenses, which violate the basic human rights to live with respect, dignity, and freedom from fear and violence. We're committed to ending domestic violence in our state through public education and services by helping victims find empowerment to help them succeed in their goals. We are committed to moving forward with all citizens, government officials, law enforcement agencies, health professionals, social services providers, educators, and clergy, community leaders to end domestic violence that threatens so many.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right, would you read the part that says now therefore, and I think it has a correction in it?
Now therefore, we, the county judge and commissioners court of, Grimes County, in recognition of the important work being done by the domestic violence awareness programs, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month and urge all citizens to become aware of the tragedy of domestic violence and become actively involved in working together to eliminate domestic abuse.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. Do I hear a motion to adopt the proclamation, October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month?
I move that we approve the proclamation designating the month of October 2019 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
That's second. Okay, we have a motion and a second from Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any more discussion at this time? If not, all of those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, focusing family. Did you need to?
No, I got a picture of her reading it.
Thank you, ma'am, I appreciate it. All right, and thank you, ladies, for all of the work that you do. Ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you all. At this time, we'll have the Grimes Central Appraiser District, Mr. Shannon Sanders, come as the Assistant Chief Appraiser. And the motion, the item is consider and take action to approve the 2019 tax roll. Mr. Sanders,
Good morning, Commissioner.
good morning.
I have two items this morning. The first item is to consider and take action to approve the 2019 tax roll.
Mhm.
If everybody has a copy of that,
Yes.
there's an order there. So earlier this summer, we certified the appraisal roll in July. And then in September, the court adopted their tax rate. And then we apply that tax rate to the appraisal roll to make the tax roll. So today is just the formality of approving that tax roll.
Okay. Is there any discussion? It's signature by the county judge? Okay. Well, I'd like to make the motion to approve the 2019 tax roll with the county judge's signature.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second from Commissioner Cox, and a second, no, it was from me, from Commissioner Walker, and a second by Commissioner Cox. Is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mr. Sanders. We're moving on to item number 8, consider and take action to approve the tax assessment collection agreement between the Grimes County Central Appraisal District and the county effective January 1st, 2020 to December 31st, 2020, and authorize the county judge as signator. See attachment 8.
I believe everybody has a copy of the 2020 tax assessment collection agreement. The only things that have changed is the dates and some of the amounts on the payments on page 2 there. Payments actually went down a little bit this year. And we have changed some verbiage on the 3rd page there when we talk about the effective rate. We changed the language on that to, it is now called the no new revenue tax rate. And what used to be referred to as the rollback rate is now the voter approval tax rate. Those are 2 rates we provide to you so you can set your tax rate or adopt your rate. Basically, that's the only changes. This is something that we do annually. And
Mr. Fultz, did you have an opportunity to look over it?
Yes, ma'am. I don't have any concerns, and as Mr. Sanders indicated, the amounts are going down. The last agreement set forth 4 payments of 113. As you can see, they're going down to 111. That's essentially the rate from 2018.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sanders. And the verbiage was the no new, is that the paragraph we're talking about? That starts with the chief appraiser
Yes.
shall calculate. All right. thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the tax assessment collection agreement?
I move that we approve the tax assessment collection agreement between Grimes County Central Appraisal District and Grimes County effective January the 1st, 2020 to December the 31st, 2020, and authorize the county judge as signator.
Second.
All right. It has been moved up by Commissioner Cox and seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any more discussion? If not, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, Mrs. Sanders. Moving on to item number 9, Grimes County Sheriff's Officer Chief Todd Green. Consider and approve the addendum to the NCIC Inmate Telephone Service Agreement and authorize the sheriff as signator.
And this is our inmate telephone contract service that we have in place. We've been with this company for several years. We just completed a 3-year term on it, and now we want to renew that agreement for another 3 years, starting October 17th was the original date. So with this amendment also, there's an increased commission payment of 5% that will be coming to the county.
I have a question. It wasn't clear to me in number 1, the addendum represents the agreed mutual consent to renew said agreement for an additional 36 months from October 17, 2016. Is that correct? 'Cause
That's
that
the
would be-
original date of the first, the last 3-year agreement, so we're amending that for another 3 years. So we're amending that contract for another 3 years. So that particular date was requested put in from the county attorney's office, so it elaborated a little more to that clarification.
Yeah, that wasn't my language, though. We sent them an amendment, and they sent back their proposed language, and I don't think we said, we were clarifying that the original agreement started in October of 2016, and they were doing 3 more years from October of 2019. I would guess that you would want it to be as clear as possible.
Right.
It's not as clear as it can be. that's
No,
for
because
sure.
when I added up, it's already
Right.
past that term, so.
Says this addendum represents the agreed mutual consent to renew said agreement for an additional 36 months from October 17, 2016. I would think it'd be October 17, 2019.
So do you have any suggestion as to?
2019.
And you say the commission paid to the county
It's increasing by.
is increasing by 5%. Okay. All right. And this is an addendum to the term and renewal, section 1. Is there any questions?
I move to approve the addendum to the NCIC Inmate Telephone Service Agreement with the, from, I guess, additional 36 months from October 17, 2019, and authorize the sheriff as signatory.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Commissioner Mallard, seconded by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any more discussion? If not, all of those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Chief Green, we have another agenda item, discuss and take action to approve the Montgomery County Auto Theft Task Force interlocal agreement with Grimes County. See attachment 10.
This is our family interlocal agreement with Montgomery County for the auto theft task force that we have an officer assigned to. We've been doing this program since the 1990s. So we do have a good value that we're getting back from this. We contribute $10,000. Looking at the interlocal agreement, everything stays the same. Our contribution of $10,000 is still the same. Only number is just that really increased was the grant fund and some of the money that Montgomery County's contribution to make their match of the grant.
So the grant funding is the $337,464, and Montgomery will contribute $185,997, and Grimes County's portion is $10,000. Okay. And this is for a term of 1 year?
Yes, we renew this every year.
Okay.
And this actually has to be signed by all commissioners. Yes.
Yes, because I like to make the correction that all the commissioners and judges on here, it looks, is that Montgomery County that has to sign?
Yeah, they're the same.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right, thank you for noting such. Is there any other discussions on it?
I'd make a motion to approve the Montgomery County Auto Theft Task Force interlocal agreement with Grimes County and have the commissioners support as signatory.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Cox, seconded by Commissioner Mallett. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 11, consider and take action on amended interlocal agreement between Grimes County and the City of Iola for maintenance of roads, law enforcement, 911 services, and on-site sewage disposal system installation inspection. See attachment number 11. We'll turn this over to you, County Attorney, Mr. Fultz.
Thank you, Commissioner. You will recall, I suspect, that there has been a discussion for some period of time about how to address septic issues in Iola. And so you have members of your environmental department that are present today if you have any questions for them. Originally, there was a concern about how to handle complaints and whether or not Iola was able to fund the $200, I think it was $200 fee that the county was going to charge per complaint. Some discussion took place in here. As I understand, some discussion took place at the Iola City Council. And at this point, what the environmental department has proposed, and it was through my office, and I communicated that to the mayor, and then the mayor, we drafted this document, it was submitted to the mayor, and they've since signed it. What this does is it keeps in place the interlocal that we had for 911, for sheriff, for roads, and then makes a change to, because we drafted an interlocal and sent it to the City of Iola that didn't get signed, that included that fee. You may want to hear from the environmental department, but there are two things that they do, at least two things that they do when it comes to dealing with septic concerns. They do inspections on the front end for the installation of the septic system, and then they deal with complaints when somebody is supposedly, or when there's an allegation that somebody's not following the rules. What was proposed from environmental and discussed with the mayor, and what has now been approved by the mayor, is the proposed interlocal that's in front of you that would have the county only serving as a DR to handle inspections for the installation and not to deal with the complaints, which then leaves the city to either obtain their own DR to handle complaints or potentially to go through TCEQ. I don't know how that's to be handled. I don't know the specifics of that, but the mayor seemed excited, and apparently the city was receptive because they've signed the proposed agreement. This would have the same term as the other interlocals, which is 5 years to be reviewed annually, subject to termination upon 30 days notice, not any exchange of dollars. The paragraph in question, I assume that you all have had an opportunity to look at that, but the paragraph in question essentially says, for on-site sewage disposal system installation inspection, the performing party, to be the county, agrees to provide services for inspecting the installation of new on-site sewage disposal systems within the corporate limits of the receiving party at the discretion of performing party's designated representative. Any fees associated with the inspection or issuance of permits shall be paid to performing party, which would be the county.
Okay, thank you. We have Ms. Lee and Ms. Angela. Would either one of you like to speak to the clarity of this?
Basically, the services we would be providing are just for new installations. We've got at least 2 new potentials that are coming in that we've been contacted by installers. And that would just be for a brand new septic system. We would go in, we would receive the design, the permitting fee, the fee for TCEQ, and then do the inspection on that system. All of the complaints, those would just be forwarded over to the mayor, and then it's up to their discretion as to how they move forward with that. They, as John C. said, they have the option to hire their own DR. They had said that they had someone from the city that was going to go to DR, to become a DR. Or they can go out and hire a private person on their own to handle those.
Okay. Would TCEQ still receive complaints?
TCEQ will still receive the complaints, and it'll be between the city and TCEQ as to how they would handle those.
Okay. And this is so that new installs will not be hindered and that could move forward with new installations within the city.
Correct.
That's a good thing. Commissioner Mallett, do you have any?
I guess a question about, I guess, the permitting of the aerobic systems and continued maintenance. In that part of something that they have to submit? Or are we still going to be overseeing that for them?
Yes.
For those? Okay.
All right. You sent out the maintenance agreements to all county septic system owners?
And invoices, yes.
Invoices, okay. All right. All right. Thank you. If there's no further discussion, do I hear motion? And this has already been signed by the mayor.
The contract that I have, it says September 26, 2018. Is that, do we leave that date? Or do we need to change that?
The one I have has October 9th, 2019. Where, is there a date in the body? Oh, you mean on the first
On
page?
the first page.
Yeah. We need to change that date. But what it is this is an amendment to the original, and so it's reflective of the fact that the original was effective September 26th. We're not changing the original effective date, but that's fine. I mean, we know that this is going to affect today, and we're expecting that the 5 years is going to run from today. So you can do that now. I would say if you left it September 26th, I think that's consistent with the other interlocals. And the idea, I think, was to have them all at a date, reviewed on an annual basis at about the same time and considered about the same time. So that may be the reason that it escapes me why we left that in there, but that may be the reason for putting it in there. It doesn't really matter, because if you can terminate on 30-day notice, then you can review at any point, and you can terminate at any point. So I'll leave it to you, but the original of this agreement was signed September 26, 2018.
And we already had certain services in play. It was just the septic portion, is that correct?
That's
The 911 services and the road and bridge, what all is it? Road, law enforcement, and 911 services. The city agreed to that. It was just that the discrepancy was on the disposal systems,
That's
right?
And if you left this with an effective date of September 26, 18 and a 5-year term, it would come up in 2023, as opposed to making it 19 with a 5-year term, and it'd come up 2024.
Okay, and that was in order to schedule them all come and do at the same time.
As I recall, that was the intention, correct. And so this is an amendment to an existing contract. So if you had an existing contract that ran from day 1 to day 365, and you did an amendment, but you changed some terms, but didn't change the date of the termination, then the effective date would still be the same as the original.
Okay, all right. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the amendment to the interlocal agreement between Grimes County and the City of Iowa for maintenance of roads, law enforcement, 911 services, and on-site sewage disposal system installation inspections.
Second.
All right. We have a motion by Commissioner Mallett and a second by Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any further discussion? If not, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 12, consideration and possible approval of a water line installation permit for Wixon Creek SUD on County Road 123, presented by Road and Bridge Engineer Harry Walker.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Wixon Creek has submitted an application to install a 6-inch water line along County Road 123, including a crossing. This is immediately east of Highway 39, between 39 and the railroad. They have also asked to take advantage of the county's fire hydrant installation program, and I think that would be an appropriate spot for a hydrant to be installed. So I'm recommending that we grant them that opportunity as well. Questions?
Is the crossing just gonna be a 1-inch? Or they have it on as the crossing as a 1-inch?
The water line will be 6-inch, but there's a service line
That's crossing.
for the crossing.
I move to approve a water line installation permit for Wixon Creek SUD and County Road 123. Do we need a motion for the fire hydrant, or is that just a?
Please.
And the installation of a fire hydrant?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second by Commissioner Mallon and Commissioner Dobianski. Is there any further discussion? If not, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Moving on to, thank you, Mr. Harry. Item number 13, consider and approve the resolution to receive the grant for the Indigent Defense Program and authorize the county judge as signator. See attachment number 13. Mr. Fultz, have you had an opportunity to review this?
On item 13,
Yes, sir.
just briefly, my understanding is that it's the application for a grant.
Yes.
Yeah, they're always, just strings of money. What
Yes, sir.
do you want to jump through for money?
Okay. It says each county is eligible to receive a grant of $15,000 plus its share of the remaining funds budgeted by the commission for the formula grant program. And it has a calculation of that, but it is for indigent defense, but this is not our first grant that we received for indigent defense. This is annual. And these are due by November 15th, 2019. There are 2 simple steps to apply for your formula grant. The Commissioners Court should adopt the attached formula grant resolution and upload the signed resolution to their website. I don't have any further questions. Do anybody else have any?
I move that we approve the resolution to receive the grant for the Indigent Defense Program and authorize the county judge as signatory.
I second. We have a motion and a second by Commissioner Cox and Commissioner Walker. Is there any further discussion? If not, all of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Item number 14, consider and take action regarding the burn ban enacted August 14th, 2019, and authorize the county judge's signature. We did have our emergency management here, but we have Chief Sharon. What is your thoughts, sir?
I don't think we've had significant calls. I mean, we have some, south of 105, but that's kind of, an ongoing thing anyway. I mean, Deputy Cass can speak to that, but in the north here, in the north, we haven't seen any significant calls as far as burn bans, and we've had significant rain in the last couple of days, so I would suggest we go ahead and release it right now.
Okay.
And I've spoken with Chief Barney He said the same thing as well. For now, it's not like it's gonna stay forever, but
Okay.
you didn't have a problem with that either.
We're just talking about the burn ban.
Okay, I felt like I walked in.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am, perfect timing. We were just asking, this was enacted August 14th, so we're still within the time frame. But it has been suggested that we remove the burn ban for now, and so it is open for a motion.
What's your Todd mission?
We actually have run a lot of burn bans, and you could do like Waller County. Waller County lifted it for a week and then got a really bad fire due to a burning of a trash pile and still being drier than they anticipated. And then they instantly put the burn back on. Since y'all meet fairly frequently,
Next
that
week.
would be up to the court if they wanted to relieve it for a little bit and see how the citizens do and how our weather does, and then base it accordingly.
We do have a meeting next week, so.
Yes. Is that a motion?
Yeah, I move to lift the burn ban effective, I guess, immediately.
I second it. Okay. We have a motion to remove the burn ban as effective immediately by Commissioner Mallett, seconded by Commissioner Walker. Is there any more discussion on the matter? If not, all of those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Item number 15, receive any updates on the strategic plan? Anyone have any? All right. We'll move right along to the next agenda item, number 16. Do I hear a motion?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion to adjourn from Commissioner Dobianski and Commissioner Mallett. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you.